Good morning, Agents of Nothing, and welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We are your commanding officers. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 3, Episode 19, Failed Experiments.
Yeah. So, Mariah, how was your week?
It was good. So this has nothing to do with, my week and how it was, because honestly, my week was generally pretty boring. But this was my exclusive last week, and I sorry guys, but I wanted to say it on the podcast proper as well. During our hiatus here, I got my boyfriend Tyler into the show as well, and we binged the whole series in about 2 months.
I'm so jealous.
It's even fresher in my mind now than it was before.
We're almost halfway through. I realized that last night when I was watching this episode that because we're almost to the end of season 3 and middle of season 4 is the middle.
Yeah.
So I hate it when people watch things faster than me.
Sorry.
Anyway,
how was your week?
It was good. So I got to finish recording the last song to complete the EP that I'm trying to release at the beginning of the year. Yay!
Yay!
I'm really excited about this song in particular. It's called The Wizard. And I feel like it's the closest that me and the producer I've been working with have gotten so far to a final product that really matches exactly what I was hoping for from the start. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good.
Woohoo! All right, are we ready?
I think we're ready.
I think we are. All right. This episode was written by Brent Fletcher and directed by Wendy Stansler.
All right. So as far as new characters, I'm not sure if this counts. There were a couple of nameless but speaking roles for new S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. I don't have any dumb jokes for them because they didn't give me a name to base my dumb jokes off of. Oh, sorry, let me turn my phone off.
How dare you?
I'm so sorry. I'm rusty. Rusty Page. How are you doing?
That's Caroline's stage name, if anyone didn't know.
All right, I should probably mention that. If I'm mentioning music coming out, it's going to be under the name Rusty Page. So, so let's see if Mariah remembered how to take notes.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, I definitely felt a little squeaky on this too, so.
Yeah.
So, we're coming in hot with this opening, okay? It is... Wow. So, we learn how Hive came to be the thing that they are. They used to be human, running around, hunting boar, hopping, skipping, jumping, having a great time. Maybe. I don't know. Probably not having a great time hunting boar, because I'm pretty sure those things are pretty terrifying, but
yeah,
doing what humans were meant to do, you know. When all of a sudden some colonists, I guess Kree, arrived and decided to perform some horrific experiments on them, such as pumping them full of Kree DNA and then putting them in a Terrigen husk and turning them into an Inhuman. This was disgusting.
Oh, no. These experiment scenes are so brutal. I hate it.
It was so bad. It felt really
I was looking
gross.
away. Looking away.
Then back to real time. Hive has been telling their story to Daisy and the remaining Hydra agents that were gathered there. The Hydra founders are like, okay, great, so what does this have to do with us? And Hive's like, you're next, motherfucker!
as soon as I saw the Hydra people, I remembered what happens to them, and I went, oh god, this whole episode is pretty brutal.
It really is. It gets very violent. So at S.H.I.E.L.D., Lincoln is following May around the base like a little kid, just begging to help again with finding Daisy. And May says that the last time he helped wasn't helpful, so no. Which I fully understand, but also he probably would have been more helpful if Hive hadn't gotten to Alicia first. But either way, May tells him to stop acting like he's the only one who cares about Daisy, or even that cares about her the most. Because as we've said many times on this show, literally everybody's in love with Daisy.
May has a point that he hasn't known Daisy very long in comparison.
Absolutely.
And I love that it immediately shuts him up.
Yes.
he just steps back and he's like, well, I can't argue with that.
He's like, I have nothing to say. So Fitz and Simmons are in the lab developing what may be a cure for Hive's infection, or it might be poison, or it might be neither. They're making something, though.
Making something.
They both bring up the trauma that they faced, Daisy acting like Fitz's best friend while threatening to kill him, and Hive wearing Ward's face while pretending to be Will. Simmons won that trauma comparison. But I'm glad that this means that they have processed it enough to at least talk about it. Like, they both know what happened, and they can bring it up and almost joke about it, so that's great.
Yeah. The banter between Fitzsimmons is so good, as always.
Oh, my God, yes. I missed it. Missed it so much.
Me too.
So anyway, they are hitting a wall because they need to be able to test the whatever thing that they're making on an actual Inhuman. And wouldn't you know it, Lincoln has been listening, and he volunteers as tribute, actually.
Oh, Lincoln.
Who would have ever guessed that would happen? So Coulson finally finds Daisy by using her facial recognition software. He and Mac debate Daisy's motives. Mac is hopeful that Daisy is resisting Hive as much as she can and got herself flagged on purpose to get S.H.I.E.L.D. to rescue her. But Coulson is adamant that she got herself flagged on purpose to lure S.H.I.E.L.D. into Hive's trap. Either way, they're going to Wyoming to strike down Hive. And I still am not really clear on if she got flagged on purpose or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because she said that she didn't, but she was also just spouting a lot of manipulation tactics. So
yeah,
hopefully they will tell us later, but I also will probably forget. So Hive and Daisy have a little heart-to-heart about how the Kree stole Hive's life from them to make them a soldier, and how S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't any better. Daisy defends her friends, which is a good sign, I think. But Hive is confident in their assessment that S.H.I.E.L.D.'s entire purpose is to fight wars. And, I mean, technically, yes. But also, Hive is the bad guy, and obviously S.H.I.E.L.D. is good now because Coulson is the director. So, duh. But Daisy gets a very beautiful poetic line in, saying, "Sometimes the world's greatest miracles happen by accident." And I do find it interesting that we're always, I feel like they mention the world a lot on this show. The world's biggest, the world's greatest, the best thing in the world or whatever. But canonically, there are other worlds, and they know about them.
Mm-hmm.
Including in this very conversation. So, yeah. So Hive and Daisy join Dr. Radcliffe in his not very sterile laboratory. It is literally a mechanic's garage with the bay doors open. So,
yikes.
Not great. But Dr. Radcliffe has developed a way to combine the two steps of the experiment, adding the Kree DNA and the crystal, the Terrigen crystal, into just one step.
Oh, no. No.
It is a terrible idea. And Hive literally won't stop talking about the moment at hand. So Dr. Radcliffe is finally like, so do I start or not? Do you want to go? And Hive did not like Radcliffe's attitude here, but he says to go ahead and start nonetheless. So they start the experiment, and almost immediately, all 3 of the Hydra agents start screaming for it to stop and then melt into goo from the inside out. I wanted to vomit immediately.
This scene was what first sparked Tyler to ask me why I won't watch a horror movie with him if I can watch this.
It was so gross. I did not like that. If you know, it was interesting though, because it kind of felt like it reminded me of like Raiders of the Lost Ark when the Nazis like fucking melt off of their bones. That's what it reminded me of, but like more high tech than that effect. So Mac and May head to the plane to debrief the nameless agents joining them on this mission.
So this is the first appearance of Agent Piper. You will be seeing her more often.
Will they give her a name later?
Yeah.
Or do you just know that that's her name?
Well, I just know that that's her name, but it's because they say her name later. I don't know if you'll catch it or not, but her name is Piper.
We'll see. I feel like I've seen that actress in a lot of things. And like recently. I was trying to figure out where I'd seen her before, but
I can Google it for you maybe, if I remember.
okay.
Wait, why don't I just do it right now?
I feel like it was in the show I just finished watching, called Good Trouble.
Brianna Venskus?
Was she in a show called Good Trouble?
Let me see. I don't see. Oh, yeah. Good Trouble. Mira.
Okay, yep, that's exactly who I thought. Wow.
Oh, she was also in Supergirl.
Oh my god. I love that show.
I almost did it again where I click out of the
Oh my god.
the Zoom call. Y'all, earlier Caroline was like, "Oh, it made me accept you twice." And I was like, "Yeah, that's because I accidentally clicked out of the Zoom call tab."
She was like, "You know what? I don't want to be perceived today." Actually. All right, jumping back in.
Yes.
So, Mac reiterates how dangerous the mission is, and that they'll each be outfitted with the best armor and weaponry that S.H.I.E.L.D. has to offer. The agent that is not Agent Piper refers to May as the nickname that she hates, and I had a little flare of rage. But May didn't say anything, so I don't have to either, I guess. We can let it go.
At a certain point, I feel like she just kind of accepted it.
I guess, maybe. She's like, well, this is part of my
She's worked
past.
through that trauma. Yeah.
Anyway, so after Mac dismisses the other agents, May tells him to stop making this mission about himself, or about Daisy, for that matter. The mission is about killing Hive. But Mac is adamant that he is still to blame for not realizing that Daisy was turned, and so it's all his responsibility to get her back and fix her. And listen, I love a man holding himself accountable as much as the next person. But May is so right about everyone making this about themselves and like their own personal relationship to Daisy. And we're all in love with her. I understand. But can we focus? Please.
Focus in.
Because everyone going rogue and being like, I have to be the one to save her, is going to make it harder to save her. So, speaking of people making things more difficult, Lincoln is pitching Fitzsimmons' antitoxin to Coulson for approval. Coulson brings up the obvious point. Wouldn't he have to be infected with Hive's DNA to see if they can cure the infection? Apparently, they can inject him with the antitoxin and then take a DNA sample to infect with Hive and then just see what happens outside of his body. And my question is, if they can do that part on a sample, why can't they do the whole thing on a sample? Simmons says that it's way too dangerous to try. The antitoxin will literally just cause his body to shut down. Coulson asks Fitz for his thoughts, and Fitz doesn't want to go against what Simmons is saying, but he does feel that the possibility of it working might be worth the risk. Simmons says that Daisy would never want someone to do something so reckless to save her, and Fitz says it's a good thing it's not really up to her then. Swoon. But also dumb. Stop it. Listen to Simmons. Coulson ultimately denies the idea and tells them to figure something else out.
And this is... I honestly don't know at what point this note comes in, because I wasn't taking notes for a long period of time. And so I put Taylor Swift voice, and I was never good at taking notes.
There was a lot to cover in this episode, too.
There was.
I
was like, I am so glad I don't have to write the actual script.
There were, every scene had something.
Yeah.
Speaking of, Alicia has another double.
I did write that down, too.
And I feel... I was trying to remember what we were saying about this in the last episode, because Hive was thanking her for her sacrifice when her other two doubles were killed. But if she can just make more, then was that a sacrifice?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I guess because she feels it all.
Yeah. So then Daisy and the explosive guy that I didn't remember his name, but we figured it out. It was James. They are playing pinball in a bar with Alicia's and mostly just shooting the shit. James accuses Daisy of caring about people and pining over stinking Lincoln. Which is honestly an iconic insult. That's 6th grade bully level insult that's gonna stick with you for the rest of your life. Kind of. I bet that Lincoln is constantly doused in cologne to counteract the ever-present fear of smelling bad. I love that. Stinkin' Lincoln.
Stinkin' Lincoln.
James also reminds Daisy that there's no way that things will end well for her friends at S.H.I.E.L.D. as long as they are on opposite sides of this fight. So Daisy decides that she's going to save them by making them understand Hive's plan. And then I wanted to pause for a second because I just want to give such a huge shout out to both Brett Dalton as an actor and the stylist and makeup department on this show, because I paused here to take notes and landed on a close-up still shot of Hive's face, and this is so clearly a different character than Ward. Everything from his speech, he talks slower and he talks different. His mannerisms, his posture, and then to the wardrobe and the shade of fucking foundation that they use is all different. And I was looking at his face and I was like, we had a whole arc on this show of having to remind ourselves that he's the bad guy because we were thirsting over him, and I'm looking at him and I'm not thirsting over him. Because I'm looking at his face and it's the same face, but it is not the same face. It's how a person's makeup gets done for their funeral or their wake. It looks like them, but it's just not quite right because they aren't there anymore. And I don't know how they fucking did that, but it was so cool. And I just wanted to make sure that work gets acknowledged because that is such an amazing transformation.
I totally agree. It's incredible. It's almost like it's a little uncanny valley.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoever did the like his makeup and everything for this storyline, fucking fantastic job. Come on the pod.
Yeah.
Okay, we can play again. So, Hive is angry that Dr. Radcliffe's experiment didn't work. Radcliffe says that it would have worked, but the Kree DNA that they need has to be from a live host. And while Hive has Kree DNA in them, their ward meat suit is in fact dead. And just hit me there that's why they made his face paler, because it is literally a reanimated corpse. Anyway.
Yeah.
So then Hive almost strangles Dr. Radcliffe for even insinuating that Hive may have made a mistake, but lets him live and says that if Hive is scary to him, then using the Kree objects that were under James's house and are the only thing that can destroy Hive is going to be terrifying. And oh my god, do those things call the Kree Reapers or something? Yes, they do, past Caroline.
How are you so good at guessing?
Yeah. Good writing, that's how. I could put the dots together. I don't think that's how that phrase goes, but...
Connect the dots?
Yeah.
That one.
So, S.H.I.E.L.D. is preparing to infiltrate Hive's town. Coulson tells them the plan. Get in, kill Hive, get out. Only engage with other Inhumans if absolutely necessary, and if Hive can't be killed, run. Away. Fast. Not a great plan, but a plan, nonetheless.
It's a plan.
It certainly is a plan. So, Fitz checks in with Simmons to see if they're okay after he disagreed with her in front of Coulson. Simmons says they're fine. She doesn't want another Milton. Ugh, Milton. Who's just gonna agree with everything that she says.
Fitzsimmons are such a good couple. They're so healthy and communicative.
Yes, they're so perfect. Good for them. We almost get some classic Fitzsimmons bickering when all of a sudden Simmons catches Lincoln as he fucking injects himself with the antitoxin. Like, they don't have enough to worry about right now. Stick it, Lincoln. What are you doing?
Lincoln.
Simmons quickly grabs the antidote to the antitoxin, but Lincoln begs her to just wait and see if it will work.
Oh,
Stupid.
Lincoln. Poor little lovesick, hot-headed, impulsive Lincoln.
Stinking Lincoln. What are you doing? So S.H.I.E.L.D. arrives in the town and are all huddled together on the ground before they decide to try and figure out where Hive is. Love that part of the plan. But May recognizes James and follows him into the bar, where she quickly dupes him into thinking that she's a Hydra security agent. And she gets him to spill some secrets, such as the whole plan of turning humans into Inhumans. It was so easy.
He just, blurted it out to her, no hesitation whatsoever.
She didn't even ask, what's the plan? He was just like, guess what I know?
Yeah.
He's dumb, and she's so hot and sneaky. I love her. So Daisy checks in with Hive, who has a very interesting headcanon about where Daisy got her powers from. He's like, I got my powers from the Kree. You got yours from S.H.I.E.L.D. That's literally not true. That's not even a little bit. Even if they're talking about Coulson using the Kree DNA to save her life that one time, which does come up later, we learned from Reyna that this shit does get inherited, and we know that Sky's mother was Inhuman, so she would have turned anyway. So they both got their powers from the Kree. Yeah, I don't know where he got that from. He just pulled that out of his ass. Ass. My bad. Anyway, so Hive manipulates Daisy into giving them the answer that they want to hear about S.H.I.E.L.D., which is, even though Daisy wants to save her friends by turning them inhuman so that they can understand what she's feeling, if push comes to shove, she will destroy them herself by ripping their hearts out.
Yikes.
So, which, I mean, I guess is good for Hive because they have a brand new plan now. But I don't like it.
This is when I realized, like, Daisy is in an abusive relationship with Hive.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Hearing Daisy talk about Hive and then talking to Mac later on was kind of really difficult to listen to as someone who has loved multiple people who have been in abusive situations. Like, it was like glaringly obvious.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Fitz is helping keep Lincoln stable while Simmons prepares the tests that they'll need. And Lincoln apologizes for his actions, including frying half of the lab's computers, taking everything down with him. But he also negates every single apology with some other excuse, so I'm actually a little tired of him. Simmons then informs him that the DNA sample that she needs to take has to be from his brain, so she has to drill a hole in his brain, and she says he would have known that had he bothered to ask literally any questions before just doing this. May is still flirting with James over the pool table and finally gets him to spill where Hive is hiding out, in the abandoned mining facility. She promptly knocks him out in one swing with the pool stick, and S.H.I.E.L.D. heads out. She's so powerful.
She's so brave. She's well behaved.
She is not afraid.
She's powerful. She's a good girl. She is our whole world.
That's my favorite song.
If you're not on TikTok, that is going to be so confusing, I feel like. And even if you are on TikTok, who knows if you know that sound?
Please know what we're talking about.
Please know what we're talking about.
Anyway, so S.H.I.E.L.D. gets led into the building where the ancient Kree radio signal thing is going full blast, and just as the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are able to get out, the Kree ship barrels into the building, and then 2 Kree Reapers walk out. Very blue.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's the Blue Man Group. I think I've made that joke before.
Probably.
So Hive informs Daisy just as they're arriving, and she's fucking pissed. Hive explains that these Reapers are not like normal Kree beings. They're cool Kree beings. Just kidding. They are solely focused on hunting and finding. And okay, so I think I got this a little wrong. Or maybe they just changed their mission, because I was confused for a while. So I'm just going to read it. They are solely focused on hunting and finding humans to turn into inhumans. They are far more deadly than normal Kree and much harder to kill. And Daisy's task is to get some living Kree blood for their experiment and then kill them before they can kill Hive. Alicia finds one of the Reapers, and she and her double try to fight him. He realizes immediately that she's an inhuman, and so he kills both of her. And just before he kills the original Alicia, she tells him, "You should be proud of what we've become." And I'm confused, because Hive said that they're supposed to hunt humans and turn them into inhumans, but they definitely ignored several humans that walked past and then immediately killed the inhumans that they come into contact with.
I think it was more that they're like a crisis line for if the experiment ever went too far or went wrong.
I'm still just going to read it the way that I wrote it because
it's fine.
Funnier that way. So S.H.I.E.L.D. watches the other Reaper killing Hydra agents. So I guess they are killing regular humans, but Maybe just because they got in the way. I don't know what's happening. Mac hears some earthquakes rumbling through and decides that now is the time to get distracted and save Daisy, despite May and Coulson's orders. Daisy gets in between the Reaper and Dr. Radcliffe, and the Reaper calls her inhuman filth. They literally created this hybrid species. The fight ensues, obviously, and Daisy breaks all of his bones, including his spine, and then tells Radcliffe to, quote, drain him. Oh my god.
Holy fuck, Daisy. What the fuck?
Ew. What? Oh my god. So then the other Reaper catches up to Hive, and it's clear that they have history. So S.H.I.E.L.D. arrive in the church and watch the battle go down from behind the wall, because they're a little sneaky. And they are hoping that Papa Smurf does their job for them. The Reaper says at least one clarifying line that we never should have chosen you. Which, yeah, they should have had like a more sophisticated vetting system for this experiment. They literally just picked up the first guy they saw.
Yeah.
So Radcliffe confirms that what Daisy got them should be enough Kree blood to get them through. Mac then shows up and tells Daisy that she needs to come with him. Daisy says, actually, Mac needs to come with her because she's going to turn them all into Inhumans. Daisy throws out a bunch of really low blows at Mac about how he wasn't a good partner, how Morse and Hunter left because they didn't want to be part of S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore instead of the real reason, which was to protect everyone, about how Mac isn't a good brother to his own family, much less this chosen family. Everything that she says is just dripping with the kind of manipulation that a real good brainwashing will give you. And it was really hard to listen to. Clearly, Hive has managed to flip everything good about S.H.I.E.L.D. and Daisy's experiences there into something sinister and just not as good as what being part of Hive can offer. This is going to take some serious therapy to, like, rewire her thoughts to be her own again.
For sure. Yeah.
As Hive is fighting with the Reaper, Daisy starts laying into Mac, just beating the shit out of him. And it is clear that there are conflicting emotions within her, too, because she is under Hive's control, and she wants to please Hive, obviously, but it doesn't seem like she wants to have to kill her friend. So she just keeps beating him and, like, sobbing. Again, really hard to watch. Hive finally kills the Reaper, so May and the other agents shoot Hive with everything they have, and it does absolutely fucking nothing. So they all just run for their lives.
I didn't know how to keep up my notes with everything that was happening. Like, so much was happening.
It was so much. This was so intense. So S.H.I.E.L.D. makes it to Daisy and Mac, and May shoots Daisy before she can dole out the final blow. They get an emergency evacuation pod and drag Mac into it as Hive reaches Daisy, who is now bleeding out onto the ground. Back at the base, Simmons visits Lincoln in his hospital/isolation pod to tell him that the team has returned and the mission failed. And he gets mad that he was informed an hour after they returned instead of, like, the literal second they touched down, I guess. I was like, that made me mad, because I was like, it was only an hour ago. I'm quite sure she's been fucking busy.
Yeah, and, like, you disobeyed orders. What makes you think that, like, you're the person that needs to be informed, like, first?
Yeah.
Just because you're dating Daisy?
Daisy didn't show up. Like, she's not there, so why would they tell you? But anyway, he says that he should be up there helping instead of being held like a prisoner. And Simmons informs him, thank God, informs him that he is down here because of what he did to himself, and that until his immune system gets back up to speed, he is going to continue to be a prisoner. Her prisoner. Kinky. Oh, and also, his stupid-ass sacrifice was in vain because the antitoxin didn't work anyway. So great. Thank you very much, Stinkin' Lincoln. Everyone should just listen to Simmons all the time, every day. Thank you. Hive is very upset that Daisy let Mac destroy the Kree that they were draining, as though she could have stopped the splinter bomb that he threw. Like,
seriously.
Hive is also upset that Mac got away when Hive literally watched the end of that fight. Daisy was in the process of crushing Mac's sternum when she got shot. Like, I know that they're a villain, so of course their anger is going to be unjust, but why are you going to yell at someone who was literally doing what you wanted them to do? Anyway, Daisy reminds Hive/Ward about how actually they didn't need Kree blood anyway, because Daisy has it in her own veins right now, and after her altercation with S.H.I.E.L.D., she's ready to give up her life for Hive's cause and let them drain her instead. Fuck!
Daisy, no!
Damn. So intense. So now it's time for the post-content content! There is no post-content content. Sorry.
No post-content content!
I can't believe it. I can believe it because this was a very intense episode.
Yeah.
But I can't believe it.
I know. So, overall thoughts?
Overall thoughts. There seems to be a lot of, like, rewriting of the facts with Hive, which I guess is kind of their thing as, like, a master manipulator. And just an abuser in general. And apparently that's very triggering to me. So this is a great villain because they're really hard to watch. What about you?
So I've got a couple leftover fun facts that I wasn't sure where to insert. So this takes place immediately before the events of Captain America Civil War, which we haven't gotten to yet.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, next episode, there's some things that I might need to explain. So if you get confused on something, I'll explain it to you next episode.
Okay.
If you have any questions about any references.
Cool.
I will promptly spoil the movie that we need to watch for the bonus episodes.
Beautiful.
And the town that Hive buys, particularly the main street, was filmed in Galisteo, New Mexico, the same town used in Thor.
Oh, cute.
Cute.
Love
and
that.
that's all.
That's all, folks.
That's all. So that concludes our episode on Season 3, Episode 19, Failed Experiments.
Woohoo!
Next time, we'll be covering Season 3, Episode 20, Emancipation, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, bye!
Bye, love you!